Hi, welcome to Talk About. I'm Joel Richardson with my guest Roberta Chadis, and we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects today, which is dogs. And as a matter of fact, you know a lot about dogs because you just wrote a book about a dog. Is that right?
I did. And thank you very much for having me, Joel.
Thank you, and thank you for joining me. It's a pleasure to have you. So what's the title of your book there?
The title of my book. This was a tough one, but it's called Good Boy Jesse. And this is the book right here.
Mm-hmm.
Good Boy Jesse was my dog for a number of years, and I lived in the Salem Willows, and he and I just spent a lot of time together. And I decided that it was coming to me to write a book about what he was thinking about.
So you actually, and I mean this in a respectful way, you felt like you understood Jesse to the point where you knew what he was thinking about.
I did. I could tell, looking into those deep brown eyes, that he was going to tell me a story. And every day when we sat together, he was under the desk and I was writing. I felt as though he was channeling his story about different subjects. We talked about stairs, we talked about walks, we talked about how he feels about being in the family and music and all types of things that happen to him all day long.
So the book is actually in his voice.
It is.
And so, well, that's a good angle on a book that I hadn't thought of. The dog's voice. So what was it like? How did you get Jesse in the first place?
How did I get Jesse? I really didn't want to get Jesse, to be honest with you. I had started a relationship and I wanted it just to be the two of us, and then all of a sudden we ended up looking for a dog. And I don't know if you've ever seen a golden retriever puppy, but they are definitely hard to resist. And little Jesse seemed to wander right up to me, and he was my dog. It was no question this dog was not coming home with us. So that's what happened, and I was the one who picked him up, struggled with the little puppy in a box in the car, trying to pay attention to my driving. That's actually one of the chapters. And from then on, it was me and Jesse spending a lot of time together.
So he was kind of like your companion. I know a lot of people have dogs, and dogs are considered people's best friend. We shouldn't say man's best friend. We should say people's best friend, right?
It is. You're developing a relationship with someone. It happens to be a dog. Now, for me, Jesse opened up doors for my own growth because I ended up writing a book. And through that, I ended up doing other things. Now, was it really him that did that? I'm not sure. But when you open up to a relationship with a person or a dog, and you really go with it, and just really be free, sometimes you'll be surprised what might happen. So that's what happened to me.
So did you take him for walks? Did you put him in the car and take him to the beach, or?
I did.
How did that go?
I did. I had a lot of regular routine things that I did with Jesse, and we lived right here in Salem in the Willows.
Right.
So I was on the water, and we would walk down to the amusement park area in Salem, and everyone would say hello to Jesse. They didn't know who I was, but they knew who Jesse was. So we would walk through the streets right around Juniper Cove, and then we would walk down around where the Friendship ship is, that beautiful pier down to the lighthouse.
Right.
And we would walk everywhere. He would go in the car, he would be in the neighbors' area, the backyards. It was great. Golden retrievers are so easy to take around with you. They're very friendly and eager to do anything you want to do.
Did you ever take them outside of Salem to any of the other communities, or?
Yes, yes. Let's see. Where would I have taken him? We went in the car, so we would just go
To any of the beaches or to Bradley Palmer State Park or anything like that?
No, you know what? Never took him to that particular area.
Oh, really?
But wherever we went, we were pretty free to wander the streets together. He was very well behaved on his leash.
Yeah.
And I have to admit that years ago when we were walking, I didn't really need to have him on a leash because he was very well behaved. And we would go to Winter Island and wander around there. So he was a really good dog. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds exciting. Now, tell me some of the stories you talk about in the book through Jesse's voice. Give me an idea. Say, who would this book appeal to? If I'm out there and I'm saying, oh, gee, you know, I want to do a little reading. Usually I like this and that and different. What reader would want to buy your book?
This book is actually designed for anyone.
For anyone.
For anyone. And the reason I say that is because you will identify with Jesse, the dog. You will get a little lesson on the alphabet because I have a chapter on Jesse's alphabet, so it's good for young kids. And you can experience being a dog parent by getting a picture of what your dog might be thinking about and some of the things that makes your dog happy, like walks or just having breakfast. There's a whole chapter on having breakfast and what that means, or Christmas when you're waiting for a little gift and you're a dog and you're looking at this stocking that's hanging on the mantle and you know something's in there because you can sniff it out. So there's all kinds of stories about life and how the relationships are between a dog and their dog parents, and how you as a dog parent might see better insights or get better insights into your companion.
Now, you talk about being a dog parent. Sometimes I feel with dogs that they actually consider themselves a parent. They're trying to say, hey, you know, you're doing it wrong here. You know, look at me. Look at how happy I am. I don't have a job. I don't have a car. I eat and I sleep, and I spend most of my time sleeping anyway. So, was Jesse like that? Did he try to control you or teach you things, or?
You know, I think he did, and I'll address a couple of things because there is a chapter called Jesse's Job Description, which very much describes Jesse just like you did. You know, he's really good at taking care of children. He's very good at being quiet or noisy, depending on where he is. He's really good at everything. And also the concept of being good and, you know, knowing more about how to be happy.
Right.
That is absolutely throughout the whole book. And that is Jesse's story about dreaming of being happy and sharing that happiness all around the world. And I'm sure that was coming, obviously, from me.
That was kind of, seems like a kind of a motivator for you for writing the book, is that you felt a kinship with Jesse.
Yes.
And you wanted to share that with the world.
Yes. And the other part of it is that you can do this with people. It doesn't have to be a dog. You can establish a relationship that is based on kindness and happiness, and it doesn't have to be a dog.
So, Jesse lived, and you went to the walks, and did you ever enter him in any of the contest? I know they have dog contests. Who is the most affectionate dog? And then you have your dog, and the dog starts kissing your face and everything, and licking you. And the one who does it the most is the winner, and they get a prize.
Well, we didn't really do any contests or anything like that. No, but I think if there was one, a golden retriever could definitely win that prize.
Now, did you ever have any dogs earlier in your life?
You know, Joel, I didn't. Jessie was
Oh,
my
really?
one and only dog. No.
Did you have any cats?
I had turtles.
You had turtles.
And I did have cats. Yes, I had a couple of cats.
All right, see now, you know, you were going in the wrong direction there. You had to get a dog, and now you've corrected. Now, which do you prefer? Cats or dogs? I'm going to put you right to the test. You said don't ask me any embarrassing. I'm going to put you right to the spot. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
All right. You passed the test.
Definitely, yes.
No, a cat
Although
will
I
just.
do like cats. I really do.
But cats are kind of selfish.
Well, you can't, unless you train a cat to walk with you outdoors, you're limited with
How often
that
does
type
that
of thing.
happen?
I've seen a few. There's one in Salem. There's
Really?
a fellow that walks around with a cat on a leash.
All right.
But
There you go.
very, very infrequently. Yes.
I mean, a cat. Well, so I mean, I grew up. Well, we had an Irish Setter, and then different dogs. Cairn Terrier and a West Highland Terrier. We had a West Highland Terrier that was my mother's dog, and that was she was a very nice dog, and a golden is a bigger dog, and I'm used to the smaller dogs. The smaller dogs are easier to handle.
Yes, because you can take them places easier. And the one tough thing about a golden retriever is they shed. And they shed a lot.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. You're out there with your vacuum cleaner. You can't really get away from that golden fur. It's everywhere. And then you end up brushing your dog. Well, because you want to take good care of your dog, which
Right.
leads into another subject. But there is an insurmountable amount of fur that comes out of a golden retriever. You just can't imagine where it comes from. And I would sit outside on my front steps, Joel, and I would groom Jessie, and the fur would be flying into the air. It was just everywhere. But I still loved him.
It was a labor of love for you.
Definitely.
So, did you have any friends? Did he have any dog buddies or anything that he used to hang out with? Or
Sure, everybody was Jessie's friend. He did. He had cat friends. My neighbor had cats, so he was not very picky about dogs versus cats. And every dog in the neighborhood. It was just a great experience to take a walk with Jessie. Sure.
now, do you have this book available at local bookstores or online or anything? Or what if suppose someone would want to buy it or just for as a gift to a friend or just to read it themselves?
Well, that's a really good problem to have, isn't it?
Right.
And the answers are, I have all of those things. The books are available right now at Day of the Dog in Salem on Pickering Wharf. And the book is also available on Amazon and in Kindle form. And through my publisher, which is bestbilingualsolutions.com. And as you can hear through that name, Best Bilingual, my book is actually available in the monolingual format, which is English, with a CD in my voice. So you have an audio CD of the book. And then I have the book in Italian and Spanish.
Wow.
Yes. Bilingual.
Trilingual.
Trilingual? Would that be trilingual? Sure.
I think that's English.
English, Italian, and Spanish.
So
Yes.
let me guess who translated them into Italian and Spanish. You.
No, I
No.
did not. That
Oh.
was the beauty of my publisher, Julian Franco, who
Wow.
decided that he wanted a bilingual publishing company, and this was actually his first book that he published. And it was an experience to work with an entrepreneur who wanted to start a business, and lo and behold, my book that who knew it was going to get published got published in that way. So it was great.
So did you doing interviews with any news? Did you get reviewed anywhere, or just maybe you didn't. I don't know. But so you go around and you try to let people know about your book. And
I've done a lot of things, because part of that whole growth, and I'll have to blame Jesse for this, you write a book and now you need to do a little PR. You
right.
need to get the word out, just what you were saying. So I've done a number of things. I did a trolley ride where I had a reading of Good Boy Jesse on the Salem trolley. We went to all the spots that I used to walk with him, and I read sections of the book, and it was great. I also read my book to schools and children in different grade levels. So I have book readings, and I did get an interview by Peter Alachi in Salem. A very, very nice interview for Good Boy Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in different places, but I'm very happy about the journey. I'm happy about being an author. I'm happy about learning how to get my name out there and help other people do the same, because it's not easy.
Do you have ideas of writing other books, or
I do.
any you want to discuss, or maybe you want to keep that under wraps? I don't know.
Sure, I'll mention it. I have one on the back burner.
All right.
And it's called Written on a Kiss. And I will have to leave that as a
Written on a Kiss.
tease, I think.
Well, that sounds interesting. Well, okay. I'll have to look for that. Are you still writing it?
I am still writing it. I haven't quite finished it. But I'm too busy with the Good Boy Jesse, and I have a business called Dog Health News, which
Dog
came out
Health
of
News.
that. Mm-hmm.
You have a business called what does the business involve?
It's involving a website that is called doghealthnews.com, and I publish 2 blog posts currently a week about dog health. So
Oh.
I'm trying to help dog parents understand how to keep their dogs healthy, and also to learn strategies on how to save money while they're doing all of that. And I interview people. I have a little TV show that I do, and I'm just trying to get the messages out and work with people so that they can have a better experience with their dog and keep them healthy and not spend more money than they need to.
Give me an example of a money-saving technique for dog health.
This is a little controversial, but I think that the idea of dog health insurance is definitely a
Dog
strategy.
health insurance.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
If
Because you just
I'm
never know.
I've been in touch with a couple of insurance agencies lately. I said, here you go, dog health insurance. It opens up a whole new thing, because you have to take your dog to the vet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people always complain, oh, I got this monstrous bill from the vet. Health insurance for your dog to get a more reasonable bill.
Well, I think it's also because accidents happen, illnesses happen. You start off with a healthy little puppy, and you think, oh, this dog's just going to be great the whole time I have it. And it's just not the case. There's statistics out there that prove that
Like
something's
anything,
going
I
to
guess,
happen
right?
to your dog. And it's like when you go out and get a car. You hope that nothing's going to happen to your car. There's a mandate in Massachusetts, of course, you have to get insurance for your car. You don't have to get insurance for your dog. But it's definitely a strategy. Not necessarily for everyone, but it would work for a lot of people.
So give me an example of, I guess, what fleas. Doctor can get fleas, right?
Yes.
Or are there any diseases that are particular to dogs that only dogs get? that you can tell me about, or what else? What other reasons would you want to get dog health insurance?
Well, that subject is huge because the more I read about dog health and I see the parallels between what happens to your dog and what happens to you as a person, many of the same things happen to dogs. You end up being the subject of obesity. Dogs getting too heavy, then it leads to diabetes. So now dogs are suffering from diabetes, which you would think is a human disease, right?
Right.
And then you have stomach issues, and you have stress and anxiety for dogs.
Dogs get stressed out.
Sure.
Well, what does a dog stress over?
Might stress out over too much going on in the house. Maybe a new family addition.
Yeah.
Maybe another dog in the house.
What are these crazy people doing? They're driving me crazy.
Exactly. Or they're stressed because they don't have enough to do. And they start having obsessive behavior like licking their paws or getting hot spots on their, on the legs where it gets raw and bleeds. So there's this very similar issues that happen to people, happen to dogs, and that's why you have to really watch their health.
So all right, I got a couple of questions for you. The first one is, how many walks a day should a dog get?
Okay.
Outside the home. In other words, how many times should you take him outside the home to go on a walk?
I would say that a good guideline would be around their meals. So if you're feeding your dog breakfast and dinner, you definitely want to have a walk about a half hour after breakfast.
All right.
And after your dinner.
All right.
And maybe if you can squeeze in a little morning walk.
Right.
Before and after, that would be really great. Also, middle of the day, you definitely want to get your dog out. Smaller dogs may not need as much exercise, but the more you get out, the better and more healthy your dog will be.
Okay, so you're talking 3 to 4 walks a day.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. And what kind of food do you recommend for a dog?
This is great. I happen to be on the road to homemade food because I don't see a lot of good ingredients in the packaged food.
Right.
And that doesn't mean you can't feed your dog packaged food, but if you really wanted to help your dog stay healthy, you could work with a nutritionist through your vet and set up a plan so that you could make some homemade food that's more healthy than packaged.
You know what? I cooked a homemade food for a dog. My mother's dog was visiting with me. Actually, believe it or not, the dog was visiting. I cooked her a hamburger. It was gone in about 5 seconds.
Because she liked that.
I mean, ground beef, cooked ground beef. I mean, so there's something you could cook. Now, is this the same thing? Do dogs have an aversion to red meat, or does that cause heart problems for a dog? Or I don't know.
It does depend. All the different breeds have different issues that you want to pay attention to. And also, the more natural food, it's better for them because processing carbohydrates and processing gluten sometimes is an issue. So you want to make it as clean as possible with vegetables and protein and that kind of thing.
So dogs still get their veggies?
Yes. Dogs definitely benefit from having vegetables, for sure.
Is there any in particular kinds they go for or they don't go for? Or?
Well, carrots are good. You just have to make sure that...
Do you cook them or do you eat raw?
They can have the raw carrots.
Raw carrots. Okay, so...
yes.
What about like a pot roast or something like that?
A pot roast?
Yeah.
I would say more simple food than a pot roast would be better.
You think the dog would be insulted if you gave him a pot roast?
You probably just
Now, my
Stop it right up.
my sister, when she was in junior high school, we had a dog. It was the dog's birthday. She made a cake for the dog.
Out of what?
Flour and milk and eggs, and so she made a birthday cake for the dog. I don't know if it was just an excuse because she wanted to eat the cake herself. It might have been, but I don't know. But she did make a birthday cake for the dog.
But she didn't serve the cake to the dog, right?
Oh, you
hope
don't know my family. You don't know my family. She probably did.
Yeah. Well, these things are not good for dogs, you know. Flour, sugar, all those things.
They're
are
not good for us either. I mean,
No.
let's face it.
And if you want to check out my blog post
Yeah.
or my website, you can go to doghealthnews.com and look up different subjects and find out what you should do. We have blog posts about toxic foods
All right.
and all kinds of.
All right. So
health
your
issues.
blog actually, if you're concerned about your dog,
Go right to doghealthnews.com.
doghealthnews.com.
And I have a Facebook fan page for Dog Health News and for Good Boy Jesse.
So you have 2 Facebook pages, a blog. You wrote a book. What else? You just a woman for all seasons
Amazing.
here. I mean,
you do just as many things, Joel. I see you running around town. It's just what you do. You know, if you are driven and you have a goal set out for yourself, and that's another thing that I want to speak to my audience here, or your audience. Don't let something like the Good Boy Jesse book or anything that you're working on sit on a shelf for 20 years and not do it. Don't listen to people that tell you that you might have a silly idea. Don't listen to them and just go out and do what you want to do.
all right, that reminds
There
me
you go.
because I had an idea for my church. I'm on the Sacred Arts Committee.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do an open mic night at my church.
And what happened?
They said, "Oh, we don't want to do that. Everybody's doing that. We don't want to." And I should do it anyway.
You should definitely do it. And I'm happy to be at your open mic night.
Are you going to perform?
Sure.
What do you perform?
Maybe I'll sing. Maybe I'll play the piano. I don't know.
All right.
We'll figure
All right.
something out.
Sounds good.
I'll embarrass myself, I'm sure.
All right. Well, we're running out of time.
Okay.
It was great to have you. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
And we don't have a gift for you, but our eternal gratitude.
The gift is just being your guest. It was my pleasure, really.
All right. Thank you. And tune in next time to talk about.
Thank you very much. Thank you.